Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today we're going to help you with those New Year's resolutions to eat healthy and exercise. We have two specialists from Mannett Community Health Center here in Quincy joining us a little later on. First though, as always, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy we have sunshine, a few clouds out there. It's 39 degrees right now. Warmest day of the week today. Lots of sunshine and pretty mild too, with temperatures in the low 40s this afternoon. We'll do some melting of a little bit of snow we had over the weekend. It'll refreeze this evening though, with temperatures dipping into the mid-20s, and temperatures head downhill from here on out, but it'll stay dry this week. Still lots of sunshine tomorrow, but noticeably cooler with highs in the lower 30s. A little cooler still on Wednesday with more clouds and highs in the upper 20s. Look at Wednesday night. That's when we hit bottom again, down to the teens, and it'll recover to about 30 degrees here on Thursday with a mix of sun and clouds. But again, staying dry for most of this week. 39 degrees in Quincy right now. Checking out the news for you today, there have been some changes to the plans for a new Adams Presidential Center in Quincy Center. Now, the City Council previously did approve the eminent domain takings of the Planet Fitness, a dermatologist's office, and a parking lot on Adams Street for that new center. But speaking on this program recently, Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch said that idea has been scrapped.
It's something we're going to be talking about. I've been meeting with city councils individually, so we're getting away from the plan down on Adams Street.
Oh, really?
And we're going to do something closer to City Hall.
Oh, okay. So does that mean not taking the land that you had formally set aside?
Yeah, I mean, we put, anytime we do our URDPs, we identify lands for takings that could potentially benefit either the downtown development, economic development, or historic in this case. I've informed both the doctor's office as well as Planet Fitness. We're not moving forward on any takings on those properties.
Oh, okay.
We're going to hold on to the piece that we purchased with community preservation money right next to the Adams Academy, and then we'll see what happens down the road, what we do with that. For now, when the Adams Academy, the Historical Society has an event, it gives them a lot more parking to work with.
Money that was allocated for the eminent domain takings will be put back into the community preservation account. The mayor says he still plans to take the Acapulco's restaurant building in Quincy Center by eminent domain to create a small park in honor of President John Quincy Adams. The restaurant's last day in business was yesterday. Preliminary work for the new Squantum Elementary School in Quincy is getting underway this month. During a community meeting last week, Building Commissioner Paul Hines said that there will be some disruption around the Squantum School as workers prepare for construction of the new school. Mayor Thomas Koch says the prep work may actually be more disruptive than the actual construction of the new school.
Well, when you deal with a new school, if you can address some of those traffic challenges, we should, and that's what we're doing. So it's going to be a little hectic out there, and that was the message last night to the public. It's going to be a little hectic, a little confusing. Asking everyone to be patient, take your time, read the updates on a constant basis, how they'll rotate, because we're working on gas mains, putting water. We replaced water mains. We're putting in electric underground, going to be moving curb lines. So there'll be constant updates put out by the school and the city on what's happening this week. So we ask people to, pay attention to that schedule, and it certainly will make things less confusing. But Commissioner Hines stated last night that he thinks the next 6 months are going to be the worst of the project as far as confusion and disruption in the public ways. Once that aspect is done, then it's all restricted on the site. Part of the building coming down, the temporary classrooms going up, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, when school lets out this June, workers will begin demolishing a portion of the existing school to make way for construction of the new school. Modular classrooms will be installed for students when they return to classes in the fall. State Representative Tacky Chan of Quincy is sponsoring a bill on Beacon Hill that would ban brokerage fees for renters. Chan says that oftentimes prospective renters are hit with a last-minute fee just before they sign a lease that should actually be paid by the landlord.
Closure of types of transaction fees is part of that. However, the certain communities such as Cambridge, Boston, and Somerville, brokers will include on the very last second in the agreement that you did not know was coming, brokerage fee. And the brokerage fee generally is going to be the equivalent of your first month's rent. They sneak up on you when you already cannot renew your prior lease because you already decided to go to a new location. And so they play this brokerage fee, take it or leave it, and you're now trapped.
Chan says brokers are hired by landlords and not tenants, but often landlords pass a broker's fee on to the tenant. Chan says Massachusetts is the only state in the country that currently allows brokerage fees. Quincy College and the Quincy Public Schools are launching a new program this month. It allows high school students to earn a college degree while they're still in high school. The Accelerated Associate's Degree Pathway Program allows eligible freshmen from both Quincy and North Quincy high schools to earn their associate's degree while they also pursue their high school diploma. The first 13 ninth graders are in the inaugural program, which includes a customized course of study that will lead to an associate's degree in liberal arts totaling 62 credits from Quincy College, in conjunction with their pursuit of a high school diploma. School officials say these chosen students in the new program have demonstrated exceptional academic promise and dedication, earning them a place in the new program. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, eating healthy, getting in shape for the new year. We'll get help from two specialists at Mannett Community Health Center. That's next. Welcome back. Well, here we are, just about 2 weeks into the new year. How are your resolutions going? We have Celeste Lay and Abigail Lively here from Mannett Community Health Center once again to help us with those resolutions. So, ladies, Happy New Year, first of all.
Yes, Happy New Year. Thanks for having us.
Happy Healthy New Year, right?
Yes.
So great to see you both again. Well, I was looking up my records, and it's been about 2 years, actually, since you last were here, almost to the day, actually. And I think we planned that on purpose because as I read over the weekend, January 10th, this past Friday, was quote-unquote Quitter's Day. So it's kind of the day when folks typically give up on their resolutions. And today we're going to focus on the reasons, more so than what to do, but the reasons why these quote-unquote resolutions are not really achievable because they're not really realistic, right, Celeste?
Yeah, I think a lot of times they're not very specific. It's hard to measure the outcomes. People kind of give a very broad, general resolution. So we try to help coach people on how to make it more realistic, more specific, more achievable, and more fun as well. You don't want it to feel like a chore. You want it to be something that's going to bring positiveness to your life and benefit you to look forward to it.
And it's sustainable, right? It's something that you can continue on through the year and beyond.
Yeah, for our patients that we see all year long, they always want a resolution, but it's really just changing your lifestyle, changing your mindset, and that's what we focus on a lot is first like your mindset and making sure you're thinking about what can I positively add in versus making it such a negative thing. What am I going to stop doing? What am I going to deprive myself of? It's what am I going to add value to?
Right, yeah. So let's start with some typical resolutions, right? And you've got a great list here, and I'm sure these are very common with a lot of your patients. Lose weight, reduce screen time, practice gratitude, exercise more, and drink more water. And why don't they work?
Well, sometimes they're too vague.
Yeah.
They're not specific enough, kind of like what Celeste was saying. And then sometimes they might not see progress, so they don't really focus on continuing the habit. So we like to be that fun part of their healthcare team to kind of keep focusing on the positives and see well, maybe you don't see the big picture, but you've been drinking a glass of water every day, and that's one glass more than you've been. So, yeah, for more hydration, for example.
Yeah. You use the acronym SMART. SMART goals, and when it comes to nutrition, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and then time-bound. So, if you can, Abby, talk a little bit about what those mean.
Yeah. So we kind of sometimes have a handout too that we'd like to utilize with our patients. Yeah. So S is for specific, and we like to ask them what is it you want to accomplish this year, or
this year,
or this, or in the next month, if they do or T for time bound, if they do have a specific time they want to lose weight by, or have another healthy, realistic happy goal in their life. M is measurable, like how will I know when it is accomplished?
Right.
How will I know where I start making changes or I've seen changes? So with our follow-up appointments, we like to kind of help our patients kind of see like the success they've been doing and the steps, or even like how we can help them add to their steps if they're not even making any progress.
Yep.
A is achievable, like do you have the necessary skills and resources? If a goal for them is to get less takeout and maybe cook a little bit more, do they have like resources and healthy recipes? We are dietitians,
right.
and we love food, so obviously we have a lot of resources with a lot of like healthy eating and recipes with them.
Yeah.
And R is realistic. Does it seem worthwhile? Is this a realistic goal this year, or during this time of your life, are there other factors in your life that we should focus more on? And then T, time bound. Yeah. How are we going to get it done? When are we going to get it done? Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, really, you're taking kind of, concepts and putting them into reality.
Yeah.
Tangible results that you can actually measure on paper.
On paper.
And say by April 16th, I would like to have such and such done.
Yeah.
And a series of steps to get there, right? And be able to check them off along the way.
Yeah, and sometimes too, it's like nice to kind of have that goal written down and like that they could see it somewhere every single day, like on the bathroom mirror or by the coffee pot, because you like to drink coffee every morning.
Sure, yeah. You said something just recently that you both chuckled at. We love food. But that's okay,
yeah,
right?
Totally.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
As long
We
as
all
it's
have to eat.
as long as it's good and the right foods at the right quantities and at the right times, right?
Yeah.
I think we often associate loving food with junk food, or fast food or things that are not good for you. But you can love good food too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I think you want to. It should be a pleasurable experience, but you want to fill up on what's going to bring my body fuel in the right way. What do I need to fuel up on? What's going to bring it some balance, so I can have some good things, but also my treat things.
Exactly, yeah. And then being reinforced with successes, right, to continue and maybe try something a little different at the same time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about mindsets and the different, I guess, excuses that folks give for not being able to achieve their resolutions.
Yes, one of the most common things we always hear as dietitians is some patients will say, I have a slow metabolism. That's not working, my body's broken.
Yeah.
So we like to, before we even talk about food when it comes to metabolism, we mention that there's so many factors that impact someone's metabolism. So sort of like how your body utilizes energy to do all of its bodily functions. So before we even talk about food, we always ask patients about how their sleep is. There are factors like genetics, age, gender, exercise, sleep, stress that can all impact our metabolism. Yeah. So we take a deep dive into all of those as well. So first, we always ask patients about their sleep. Ideally for adults, it should be somewhere between 7 to 9 hours a night.
Epic fail on my part already.
Yeah, it's so basic, but it's so hard for so many adults with responsibilities, with family, work. But ideally 7 to 9 hours a night, and you can start with, say you're getting 5 hours, you can start with maybe aim towards 6 and build up more towards that 7 to 9.
Or even get in a nap, like if it's like 20 minutes, it can really count towards your sleep bank.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So ways to succeed at that goal. Rather, the one thing, the overriding theme I've noticed through all of your suggestions and your analysis, there's no punishment involved. There's no reprimand for not achieving something.
Yeah.
There's looked at as opportunities to improve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you have a setback, see it as an opportunity of what didn't work, what can I change, what can I alter to make it work the next time, and you make your adjustments.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think I like to add too, like, a lot of times we focus so much as a society on restriction, like what I'm doing wrong, what I can like take away. But a lot of times it's like what we need to add. A lot of times we just need to add an extra serving of vegetables and maybe an hour more of sleep.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of goals can get achieved too.
Just by adding.
Adding than restriction.
Well, and maybe by adding something positive or healthy, it would naturally eliminate something unhealthy or positive that you've been doing, right? So replacing, I don't know, white starchy foods with whole grain foods.
Yes,
instead.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So on to that, assessing your food intake then, Celeste.
Yeah, with metabolism, think like food's energy for your body. So you want to just keep it really simple. Are you having regular meals and snacks throughout the day? Are you giving your body fuel? A lot of times we adults, we live on caffeine in the morning. We tend to skip breakfast, go all day on energy like caffeine, but we're not eating regular meals and snacks. So that's a really basic one for metabolism, is just fuel yourself regularly.
Yeah, I've heard it often said that in order to lose weight, you have to eat, right?
Yeah, yep.
You can't stop. It's because your
Yeah.
body is gonna notice it's in trouble.
Yeah, and a lot of times restriction leads to more like energy highs and lows in the day, cravings later in the day. That's when we can get into trouble with like binge eating, because it kind of catches up to us later. So just having that regular snacks and meals throughout the day helps us kind of stay good with our energy.
It's the same with sleep too, right? You can't binge sleep really. You can't.
Yeah,
you
there's
can't make
no-
it. Oh, I'll just make that up on the weekend.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, sleep, what really helps is staying consistent with the same time period every day too. So even on the weekends, I know it's tough, but trying to stay as consistent as you can. Making sure you have a good environment to sleep. Is it the right temperature? Ideally, it should be 65 to 68. Really nice and dark, getting like those black light curtains. I've just seen so many people improve their appetite and their energy when they're getting adequate sleep. That relates to nutrition, yeah.
Build more muscle and strength. So more, what does more mean? More than what you have?
Yeah, think like, I guess percentage of like your body composition. So percentage of muscle compared to fat. The more muscle we have on our body, the more energy, the more calories and protein we're gonna need throughout the day. So it's a nice way to kind of bump up our efficiency of our metabolism. Really the only way to build muscle mass is weight training and strength training. The guidelines from the American Heart Association are to strength train at least twice weekly with some type of weights or resistance training. So I think make it fun, something that you're going to enjoy. So that could be doing like a group class, strength training class, the gym. It can be an on-demand video at home. Add a friend with you. Like maybe Abby will do it with me.
Totally.
Twice a week. But make it so that's something you're going to enjoy, not a chore.
Yeah.
And it's individualized though, isn't it? I mean, you know, depending on your current physical condition, your age, you know, any chronic conditions that you might have.
Yeah. On Friday, I actually met with a patient, and we were just talking about walking for like 15 minutes right in the morning on her treadmill. She's like, instead of using it as like a coat hanger, I'm gonna like walk on the treadmill for 15 minutes. And I'm like, this is great. And she's like, well, I'm not running. And I'm like, yet. We can just like slowly start and like keep building up on it.
That's why it's so important to have specialists like yourself go through this assessment, you know, to determine where someone is, get the baseline right, and then where they can achieve a goal, right, and then feel like they've accomplished something, and move on to the next step. So another challenge: I'm always hungry and never satisfied.
Probably our most common one.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think with this goes back to like the mindset, kind of asking yourself, what does my body need for fuel today? It's really basic, but understanding your body's signals for appetite cues. So sort of like, when am I hungry and when am I full? As adults, I think we're often so overstimulated and distracted when we're eating. You know, oftentimes we're on a computer working while we're eating at the same time. So we sort of lose that basic perception of when we're hungry and when we're full.
And also like emotional. Sometimes we're stressed, sometimes we're frustrated, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're just like, I don't know, you might not have finished a deadline at work, so you're just like, the cookies are right there, and I'm just gonna start like chowing them down. You kind of want to go back to like that comfort. So sometimes like, taking a step back and asking yourself like, what do I really need? Do I need to eat? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Do I just need to like call Celeste on the phone right now and just like vent, you know?
and
that's sometimes what I need.
Instead of polishing off the package of cookies.
Exactly.
Right? And then when you're done with the conversation, you forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you know, I'm really not hungry.
An interesting fact, I thought, did you know it takes 20 minutes for your stomach to signal to your brain when you're full? Wow.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah, so you could be eating for 20 minutes after you're full and then not even realize it.
Yeah, and then we can go into like that post-Thanksgiving dinner mode where like, I am stuffed, you know, if we just keep eating. So sometimes too, I like to tell my patients, maybe like watch a episode on Netflix, you know? Like 20, 30 minutes if you're still thinking about food, you might still be hungry.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, you can make a fun 20 minutes. Or you can play, my husband and I, we usually play a hand of cribbage after dinner.
Okay.
And then afterwards we're like, you know,
We're done.
we're done.
Yeah, so a little distraction just to let your mind catch up with your body.
Yeah.
Interesting. Energized with high fiber carbohydrates. So what are high fiber carbohydrates?
Yeah, any type of whole grains. So carbs are what gives our body energy and fuel, whether we're doing any physical activity or thinking with our brains. So whole grains are going to have a lot more fiber in them. Fiber is anything from plant foods. So it's going to be things like whole wheat breads, oats, lentils, beans, fruits and vegetables, anything with a skin or a peel from plants. Fiber digests very slowly in our stomachs, so it helps us feel fuller a lot longer. A lot of benefits with digestion, reduces cholesterol, blood sugars, cancer risk, helps with weight reduction as well.
Okay, all right. And then finally, reduce added sugars and saturated fats. So that's like a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
That's something that everybody will benefit from, right?
Yeah, and like a fun way to do it too, like Tuesday, if it's Taco Tuesday, a fun one is like maybe instead of white wheat flour tortillas, I do like a whole grain corn tortilla.
Okay,
because corn's a whole grain. And a lot of people like to forget about corn.
Popcorn is the
Exactly.
wholest grain.
Whole
there is,
grain
right?
snack, yeah.
Okay, so you can still kind of have your treat, if you will, just make it a little better.
Yeah.
I don't want to run out of time because we have some great stuff still to get to, but another mindset challenge, healthy food is unaffordable. Now that's true, ladies, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, I feel like convenience, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of times we might go to our favorite coffee shop, get a cup of coffee, get a breakfast sandwich, and just like don't mind swiping our card, you know? But too, if we cut a little bit, like 10 minutes out of our morning, we can actually make sometimes a healthier breakfast and save money in the long run.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do find that, I mean, if you go to the organic aisle, if you will, you're going to pay more for that produce than you would not, you know, for sure. So that can be an obstacle. I think that can be a hurdle.
It's an obstacle.
Yeah.
And you know, take shop in season, shop what's in sale.
Yeah.
Frozen vegetables.
Yes.
Is actually the same nutrition as just fresh vegetables as well.
Yeah, I love that recommendation.
Yeah.
Get frozen, dry, or canned goods, because those are things you can stock up on right, when they're on sale, and they don't go bad.
Especially if you don't want to go out in the cold and go to the grocery store.
Yes.
Yeah, and even like canned goods, a lot of times people think like canned veggies aren't that great, but if you just rinse them under water for like 30 seconds, it does cut down the sodium by 40%. So
really?
It's a nice way to like maybe get a cheaper veggie, but still like watch your sodium and maybe your heart healthy goal.
Yeah, okay. A Healthy Initiative program with Mass Health, so this is it's folks that are on Mass Health have access to this program.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone that has the SNAP program, they can get, if they use their SNAP cards at participating farmers markets or farm stands in the winter, they can get up to $40 back on their card instantly per person in the household, depending on who's on the card. So it's a great way to incentivize increasing produce with those high fiber fruits and veggies.
Yeah.
Another great recommendation, repurpose your leftovers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Abby, you have some suggestions?
Oh yeah, like if you have leftover rice from like takeout, you know, you can just get a frozen bag of veggies, put your favorite sauce on it, and you have like your favorite fried rice. But sometimes, all you have to do is maybe add a grain or add a frozen bag of veggies, and you can kind of make a meal. Or I like to say, with your leftovers, if you add an egg on it in the morning, you kind of always have breakfast.
Okay. Yeah. And that's protein, right?
Yeah.
It's from an egg, right?
Yeah.
Even those are getting more expensive these days.
Yeah, they go up and down. Yeah.
As well, yeah. So in the end, it's not about restrictions, as you said. It's about balance. Right?
Yeah.
So has the food pyramid changed over the years?
Sadly, we left the food pyramid away, and we kind of got into like this nice like My Plate, which is kind of nice because you kind of focus more on how much we should be eating and portioning out our meals. So yeah, half our plate fruits and veggies, a palm of our plate, palm of our hand about protein, and like around a fist of carbohydrates per meal.
All right, it's easier to figure that as well.
Yeah,
you know, when you're
we always have our hands around us too, so you know.
Exactly. Before we do run out of time, I know there's a diabetes education and support group that you wanted to mention.
Yeah, so this year we're trying to do more of like, try to make patients feel like they're not alone.
Yep.
So if you're a diabetic and you're a Manit patient or
Yep.
thinking about joining Manit, I believe one Friday a month we always have like a diabetic support group.
Okay.
So we can kind of talk about it, and then we also have one geared towards Chinese New Year, so we can kind of, if you're celebrating Chinese New Year,
Yep.
we can still have our favorite foods, kind of, and maybe in a healthier way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And that's coming up on January 23rd at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And these are for patients, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Manit
for
patients.
Manit patients.
So somebody could become a patient and then
Yes.
attend
And
these
talk to
meetings.
us, you know.
That's right. Thank you both. It's been a lot of fun as always.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're very
Happy New
welcome.
Year.
Happy
Happy
healthy
New Year.
Yes.
New Year. Yes. Check the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Get outside and do that walking. It's going to be gorgeous. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures in the low 40s this afternoon. Low to mid 20s this evening, and then temperatures head downhill from here on out. But it's going to stay dry this week. Lower 30s tomorrow, upper 20s on Wednesday, and right around 30 degrees here on Thursday. Thanks again to Celeste Lay and Abigail Lively for joining us from Manit Community Health Center.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching. Friday here in the show, we welcome back the director of the Prison Book Program here in Quincy for an update. Meantime, please check our website. It's qatv.org. All of our latest programs, there's news, information, video on demand, live streaming, and a lot more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.